I'm Drew March with the Culinary Resource Team here out of the Southeast Division. We want to start off by thanking everybody for being a part of our virtual food show. We'd love to have everybody here, but we're grateful to have a platform to reach out to everybody to share some exciting tips just regarding the new trends that are coming along, and then also to really hone in on menu profitability and that X factor that really drives your food costs and your overall profit. So today we're going to get into menu profitability and what really drives your overall food cost. So there's several factors that really go into making your restaurant profitable and really just driving home that bottom dollar. Because at the end of the day, if your food cost is out of whack, or if your plate cost, is over a certain amount, you can have many people come in the restaurant as you'd like, but you're still not going to make money. So a few different things that control, your food costs. One is just simple menuing. Are you running specials? Are you doing, social media posts? Are you actually, creating a buzz for, particular items, limited time offerings, or, seasonal menus that you're kind of running in and out of. And two, getting reputable companies to really, help you to understand that there is a science to menuing, whether it's going to be, a chef special, it's going to be, boxing in some of your real profitable items, putting in your lower food cost items towards the top of the menu, opposed to the bottom of the menu, so that customers already made their decision before they get down there to some of the items that maybe don't sell as much, or maybe just has a little higher food cost to stay in, your check average that you'd like to be in. So again, we partner with AMG, Design Suite to really help us manufacture menus, and also to help you make, money simply by where we're placing items on menus. Another thing is is when you're menuing, you really need to take a deep dive into that just to see, am I cross-utilizing my product as much as I can? Am I bringing in one specific item to create one dish? Is it really worth my time to bring this one item in to, make that one customer happy who might order it? Because you run into a lot of options where you're going to have high waste. You're not going to be turning that product over very much. And it's going to be aged inventory that's, sitting in your cooler, your freezer, or on your dry shelf. So just really making sure you're cross-utilizing as much as you can on that menu. And if you're bringing in that one item for one dish, maybe it's time to take a look and see if you can use that for other dishes, or maybe we take that off and revisit it, maybe for a special or a limited time offering. Another thing that's going to be huge that we don't see a lot is, just for one, tracking waste. From an inventory standpoint, we have great partners that we utilize with MenuMax, and then also, Compete, Revention as our point of sale system. So really partnering with these guys that are, branded. They've been doing this for a long time. They have the services in place. They can really help you do a deep dive into an inventory standpoint, to where at the beginning of the month what you got, your purchases as the month goes on, and then also the inventory you're ending up with, so you can really get that overall food cost. Because the next thing you're going to want to look at is your actual plate cost. A lot of people get those associated with each other, but they're two different entities. Your plate cost actually needs to be what's on that plate and what are you selling it for. Are you in 28 to 32%, or are you going to be, closer to 40 and 50? Some steakhouses, we see those guys, maybe a little bit higher, but they're more or less putting dollars in the bank, opposed to running, a 28 to 32% food cost. So you really got to know your demographics, got to know, what check average you can drive, because price is indicative of what kind of clients you bring in. So if you have a $5 hamburger, you're going to get those people that expect a $5 hamburger. So you really want to make sure you're, your demographic area well. But again, from the inventory standpoint, if you have a lot of high ticket items, if you're a steakhouse or something, really not doing inventory for one can lead to a lot of theft, which is a lot of money just coming straight out of your bottom dollar, which is unaccounted for. We're going to have spoilage. We're going to have items that, maybe we overcooked, or, that just wasn't happy to go out on a plate to a customer. So we just want to account for those items so we can look at it at an end inventory standpoint. So those are accounted for. And again, it alleviates stuff going out of the back door. But two, harping in on that plate cost, there's a lot of new things that we have to account for now, with certain things in the COVID guidelines. So all of your takeout stuff, a lot of people upgraded takeout. Going through this, if they served a lot of fried items, maybe they went to something that wasn't, a styrofoam, non-vented, so it got soggy. So maybe they upgraded to a craft box, or some nice dome plastic containers, or aluminum with, a cardboard top, just to kind of, keep those things nice and hot, so the customer didn't see any difference between eating it at a restaurant and then taking it home. But a lot of people didn't take into account, the price change for those. So, we saw a lot of subject availability, little bit of people maybe going up on pricing on some of these takeout items. And again, the customer kept the same price point. So, you really tinkered with plate costs once you did that. And if you were at a 28, it maybe took you up to closer to a 35. So there's a lot of monies that got left out on the table. So, one option is obviously just including that into your plate costs. If you're doing more takeout, a lot of people went upwards of 50% or more during COVID using takeout. So you need to make sure that's accounted for. You could do that with a surcharge as well. So if you needed to add 50 cents or $1, to any kind of takeout, that would really help you cover your cost as far as making sure you're still having that plate cost go out between that 28 and 32% margin that we like to see in our industry. Keeping on that same plate cost topic, we have a great partner, MenuMax, that we purchased a few years back that really help us deep dive into that plate cost. And the cool thing about that is for any of you guys that are, real heavy on entree, it syncs directly with it. So we can import everything on that order guide directly into the system. So when you're costing out your recipes, when you're doing everything, you can actually update those with your pricing. I mean, hopefully everybody's doing it on a weekly, monthly basis, especially right now, given that the cost of goods, we're seeing some increases. Some things are settling and getting a little bit more back to normal. But with MenuMax, you plug in every one of your recipes straight off of, an Excel format. It'll go directly in. And so you can really kind of see your plate costs, and without having to update your pricing all the time manually, it's a simple refresh button within the system. So you can really, really see if there's any red flags that pop up. If again, you're outside of that 32% margin that you like to be at. So MenuMax is a great partner that we utilize. They also have inventory functions. Again, because, setting up PARs using that inventory is really, really crucial to make sure we're driving home, our overall food costs. Because if we're ordering too much, again, we're going to result in waste. If there's too much sitting on the shelves that we're not using, for one, we need to find a recipe to build that into. And what better way to use MenuMax for building, your limited time offerings or the specials that you're going to run. The next thing is just overall portioning. As far as the food costs, a lot of people with the labor issues have gone to, pre-cut steaks, maybe pre-patty burgers, a few things that, you can help with the labor issues that we're having. If you're having to go to a skeleton crew or just a couple guys in the kitchen, let us do the work for you. We've got some great partners like Win Meats, Rancher's Legacy that does, some of our beef. So, every time you put out a steak, if you're getting it pre-cut at 10 ounces, it's going to be 10 ounces every time. You don't have to worry about anybody back there heavy handing a 12-ounce steak when it should be a 10, and that could really eat at your bottom dollar. So we have a lot of partners in place that really help us kind of, take some of the labor out of it, get a hard spec on it, and then, every time that plate goes out, exactly what your cost is based off, the per poundage that you did. So again, a lot of value-added stuff out there that can really help, whether it's, produce items that maybe it's already shredded lettuce, maybe it's a diced sweet potato that you'd have to pay somebody, if you're struggling to get anybody in the kitchen. A lot of these value-added items really just, can help relieve some of the stress of making sure you have enough people to work that day. So, a lot of partners that we have, let us do the work for you and really just kind of help you focus on executing the menu and getting the products out of the kitchen. The last thing I wanted to talk about too is just, again, the overall social media management of, making your restaurant profitable. Spillover is another great partner that we have with us. Those guys really, really create the buzz, whether it's an online order, whether it's, building up that Facebook, that Instagram, that Twitter, anything like that to really drive home, the buzz to create around the restaurant, to get those sales, to get those people coming in the door. Because right now to be profitable, you have to get more people coming into your restaurant since we're at a 50% capacity in a lot of areas around us. So using people, like Spillover to, implement that online ordering, could really help. And again, as long as you're covering the cost of all of your takeout items, there's great money to be made, especially with the minimal overhead that you have, having to run a lot of takeouts. So using those guys, again, just to, put the buzz out there, loyalty programs, anything just to get repeat customers. Because right now we need more people eating local and eating often than ever. So he's a great partner to use, again, for just driving and creating that buzz. But a lot of these tips can really help you deep dive into making that menu more profitable. So again, menu sciencing, making sure that you have the right items in the right places, hitting those chef specials, that are boxed in at the top, really driving, nice pictures to get people's focus go right on there, was one. And then also, like we talked about, the overall food costs from an inventory standpoint, just so you're not over ordering, you have parts set up in the system, you have accountability, for any kind of waste, spoilage, to reduce, theft or anything going out of the back door. And then also, on the plate cost aspect, partnering with somebody like MenuMax, just to make sure that you're in line. Because again, if you're operating at a 50 or 60% food cost and you're still doing, pretty good numbers, there's so much money you're leaving out on the table. And it could also, sales could drive you out of business. So there's a lot of reasons to really deep dive into that food cost and the plate cost. And again, going through somebody like MenuMax, it's a simple refresh just to make sure there's no red flags on anything, that's out of whack or maybe over that 32% threshold that we like to stay at in the industry. So again, creating that buzz on social media, internet, getting those sales driven, just to make sure we're covering the heads that are going to get us through this crisis and, have an even better, more profitable 2021. So again, I want to thank everybody just for taking, a few minutes just to kind of listen to some insight that we have, in the industry, things we're seeing out there. I hope everybody was able to learn something today. We appreciate you guys again attending the first virtual food show, and we hope to see everybody soon enough. And next year, hopefully we're doing this in person, but we appreciate it. Everybody be safe, and thank you.